I met you in the summer. To my heartbeat.
The Soulsborne Sekiro Ring series has played such an integral role in shaping my deep-seated love of dark fantasy, as well as some other things. And as a way to say thank you, I'm announcing a challenge run marathon of every single FromSoft game, not you, starting with Demon Souls and ending on the critically acclaimed Elden Ring. But before we get to the juiciest of Miyazaki's fruits, we must first eat these fruits. That's not to say these fruits are bad. It's just that if Dark Souls 3 is a fat, scrumptious peach, then Demon Souls is a durian. Man, it looks really cool with all the spikes and stuff. And some people really love durian, but then you get a whiff, and dear God. Today's run, the first of many, has me attempting to beat Demon Souls from start to finish using only the fist weapons known as the Hands of God. I mean, holy shit. A weapon with a name like that? I mean, this run will be over in time for dinner. Yeah, don't worry, I thought the same thing. Then I actually used them. It's not a total wash. The weapons have some incredible knockback and hilarious PvP potential, which I will show in each of these videos if possible. So join me as I attempt to tackle Demon Souls using only the Hands of God.
Vestal reporting for duty. Please assume the position.
Man, I must be the first content creator to make a fisting joke in a fist weapons video. Hilarious. Starting as a Temple Knight is non-negotiable. That stat spread is just ridiculous. Obviously, our character doesn't start with godlike hands. They start with puny, pathetic, human-like hands. So, we'll just have to bare-knuckle brawl everything until we can find our first Hand of God. Due to its console restrictions, Demon Souls is the game in this series that I know the absolute least about. It was the only reason I bought a PS5 in the first place, and with backstab and parry animations this crunchy, it felt like money well spent. I had intended on beating the tutorial boss since I had never done it before, and even though this is probably the easiest of all the tutorial bosses, it's made twice as difficult with only one hand on the controller.
You gonna make me act up.
Do not come.
You gonna make me do something I'm gonna regret.
Yep, there it goes. All right, we start again. After like 3 more character creations, I was finally able to beat him with the help of fire bombs as a starting gift. I snatched up the post-boss rewards and got humbled by the true Hand of a God. Oh, the Nexus, filled with such iconic characters, and by the end of this run, they'll all be dead. As I make my way through the first area of the game, let's go over the one and only rule of the run. The Hands of God are the only weapon I'm allowed to use. Now, I obviously can't use them until I can level up enough to achieve the necessary stats. And Dirty Feet Girl doesn't even appear in the Nexus until after the first boss is defeated. So until that point, I may not be able to use weapons, but I can use my fists and the many damage dealing items I find along the way. Demon Souls backstabs are just so incredibly generous that clearing a path to the boss proves easy enough. And of course, I picked up the Cling Ring and Ring of Great Strength along the way. Oh, Phalanx, you big stinky ball of oil. If only I had picked up some sort of contraption that explodes into a ball of fire. Somehow, I missed 2 of my fire bombs, forcing me to clean up the last bit of his health bar with my dick beaters. The Maiden in Black finally wakes up from her long nap, typical goth girl, and using the many souls we've picked up along the way, I'm easily able to get my strength to 19 and faith to 16. Now I just need the actual weapon.
Many of us don't want to see the signs, don't want to see that a senior citizen is being abused.
Listen, I'm not happy about it, okay? But this is the only way. Thank you, old man whose name escapes me at the moment. Your sacrifice will not be in vain. Moving on, at a flaccid 50 physical and 70 magical, we already know that the damage for the Hands of God is severely lacking, even compared to other fist weapons. But there is one saving grace, and it's the knockback that the weapon provides. Both the heavy and running attack send any medium enemy flying backwards. If timed correctly, you can create a series of attacks that prevents the enemy from ever getting an attack off. Since we're in the early stages of the game, this knockback effect makes all of 2-1 feel like a cakewalk, and before long, I'm flapping gums with Blacksmith Ed. For some godforsaken reason, the developers marked the Hands of God as boss weapons, which means the only way to level them is to first give Ed the searing demon soul obtained from the Flame Lurker. You know, the giant flaming demon that's considered one of the hardest bosses in the entire game. Then on top of that, you have to get colorless demon souls as the upgrade materials. We'll talk more about that later. For now, I need some more levels. Using the old headbutting trick, I was able to commit even more delicious geronticide. I don't really believe in karma, but if I did, this would be a prudent example. I managed to make it back alive to obtain a massive amount of souls and Old King Durin's armor. Looking good. With 7 more levels under my belt, I'm feeling confident enough to start the armor spider. The only way to accurately describe this fight is messy. I have enough health to tank most of its attacks, but for some reason, I was just soaking everything it threw at me. While this spider beats the absolute f*** out of me, does anyone want to guess what this appendage is? Anyone at all? I'll give you a hint. It ain't the cephalothorax. Oh my god.
No. Wait.
Okay. Through sheer force of will, the armor spider is defeated and the true hardest boss in the game awaits. These rickety ass stairs. Hey Google. Is there a shortcut to the Flame Lurker boss fight, or do I have to fall down that bullshit every single goddamn time?
According to Reddit, there is no real shortcut to the Demon Souls boss known as the Flame Lurker. You'll just have to grow up and stop being such a scrub coward cuck. You gonna cry? Is the little baby gonna cry from dying too much? I'm posting your social security number online right now as we speak.
All FromSoft games have this series of ledges where one wrong step could result in your untimely death. It doesn't matter how many thousands of hours I put in, I will always just be bad at this. I'm not kidding, I died more on the way here than I did actually fighting the Flame Lurker. At the bottom of the pet is a full set of the Hands of God, and now I can put one in my offhand for quick jabs and parries. Boy, was I dreading this fight, but turns out the hardest part of the tunnel city is those stairs. When I actually made it to the boss this time, I did not think I would get very far, but the Hands of God deal a modest amount of magic damage, which the Flame Lurker is weak to. When I realized this might actually be the run, I went into body form and stuck to his back. Like all other bosses in this game, it gets much easier when you realize they only have about 5 or 6 different attacks. Holy shit. It literally only took 3 tries. It took way more deaths just to get down here in the first place. Did someone order one piping hot demon soul that burns brighter than the sun and scorches you just by staring at it? Now we need some upgrade materials. There are 10 colorless demon souls throughout one playthrough. The first one could be obtained in 1-1 on pure black world tendency, and another can be obtained from Sparkly by gifting a talisman. And look at that. We're already at +2 with a gigantic giga boost to our damage of 10. We do 10 more damage now. It took an hour to get those materials, and we do 10 more damage as a result. It was at this point that I realized what I had signed up for. This thing might actually be the worst weapon in the entire game. Sure, the scaling went from D to C, but damage scaling in Demon Souls means much less than the rest of the series. As devastating as this realization was, I had already made it this far. I was not about to throw in the towel. I am Fisto, and if a challenge run isn't difficult, can it even be entertaining? Good thing the Dragon God does not require a large amount of damage. He just requires patience, something that a middle-aged man riddled with ADHD has in short supply. After eventually just face tanking the damage, the Dragon God turns out to be nothing more than a big ol' stinky lizard with a weak chin. Oh, cool. I love a good cosmic horror, which is good because a third of my entire run was spent in just these first 2 levels of Latria. Due to my fathomably horrendous damage, fighting enemies like the squids here require more brains than brawn. Eventually, I learned I could backstab them while they charge up their AoE attack. Oh, and whoever left this message, I curse you to forever have a rock in your shoe that you just can't seem to find. The Fool's Idol killed me a lot. I mean, just look at that DPS. So I took a break to hunt down some more upgrade materials, and oh my goodness, that's a primeval demon. I'm willing to bet the Tower Knight keeps a few of these in his bedside table if you catch my drift. With the weapon at +3 and a little common sense, I would eventually realize the true idol doesn't have a health bar above its head, making this fight just 1,000 times easier. This brings me to Upper Latria. Man, oh man, this place has both some of my favorite and most hated level designs in the entire series. I just want to say, I know I'm complaining a lot, but really, I do love this game. After I was done with this run, I started a bow-only playthrough and had no problems at all. In fact, bows are kind of OP in this game. You should try it. It was tons of fun. But a half-decent build with half-decent damage is what turns this level from a cakewalk into a literal mind-breaking house of horror. Let's start from the beginning. The gargoyles aren't so bad. Chaining heavy attacks seems to work quite well. The flying ones are kind of annoying, but nothing I can't handle. After a few kidney punches, the first chain is released, and I head to the bottom of the tower. This living nightmare is just, I mean, I don't even have words. They got the baby scorpion things. There's these giant throbbing tubes. What is this throbbing for? I can feel it in the PS5's controller haptics, and it feels wrong. The scorpion demons are actually pretty damn tough. Their tail attacks take out a giant chunk of my health bar, and even when they fall off, it still takes my entire stamina bar to finish the ordeal. I eventually found the primeval demon in this area and died shortly after. This walk back is just so long. On the way down, a gargoyle wanted to tag along, but I'm not stuck in here with him. He's stuck in here with me. Souls obtained, kill a few more nasty baby scorpions, and finally, the second chain is broken. The developers, being the silly little tricksters they are, decided to put one of these nightmares right in the middle of the path on the way to the boss. Again, with decent damage, this isn't really a problem, but decent damage I do not have. Once I've finally killed that, I still have to worry about the calamari creeping around the giant staircase. And yes, he will one-shot you on occasion. After much trial and error, I learned that once he starts to waddle at you for his AoE explosion, you can lure him to the edge of the stairs and create an opening to run right past. Finally, I am at the boss. Surely this will be a quick and easy time to be had by all. What can I even say? I spent an entire day of my life trying to beat the man-eaters. It wasn't that I would run out of heals or the attacks were just too hard to dodge. It's purely that you are forced to fight 2 enemies who constantly frame trap you or knock you off the ledge. Normally, you can kill the first one before the other arrives, but even on my highest DPS runs, I never even got close. Thanks to that primeval demon and trading the gold mask at Sparkly, I was able to finally max out my right hand, but as you can see, it's still just not enough. I would sometimes spend, not kidding, 20 to 30 minutes in just one boss fight attempt, just to get knocked off a ledge and forced to run all the way back. That's assuming I even made it back without dying to this punk-ass squid. I tried and tried and tried. And at 2 a.m. that morning, I was so close to throwing in the towel and just scrapping this idea entirely. But then, I started to think outside the box. This ledge near the center of the boss room allows you to walk on it, keeping you somewhat safe. I was hoping to use this to just split the 2 of them up so I could fight one-on-one. Eventually, for some reason, it worked. I have no clue why. One of them just stopped moving. I still died, but it gave me an idea. The thief ring helps you hide from enemies. Maybe it can de-aggro one of the man-eaters. And sure enough, one of them will just stand still and patiently waits for you to fight the other. With a ton of patience and an embarrassing amount of sweat on my controller, I finally pulled it off. And there it was. That adrenaline, that feeling of relief that drew me to the Soul series all those years ago. This brings me to the massive amounts of invasions I had to do just to get body form to have enough health to fight the boss. I chose Upper Latria for 2 reasons. First, I couldn't possibly kill a host with just my normal damage, so I relied mainly on the many ledges this area has to knock people to their deaths. Secondly, when invading in this area, it sometimes spawns you as the Old Monk boss fight. This is always just so much fun. I mean, kinda cheesy since you can still heal yourself, but fun nonetheless. While playing as the boss, I could really only kill people with backstabs and parries, which brings me to my general conclusion on these weapons in terms of their PvP potential. Knocking people off ledges is fun, but outside of that, you'd have more luck with literally anything else. For the Old Monk, I mean, honestly, the stairway on the way up is truly the most difficult thing about it. It didn't seem to spawn a player for the boss fight, so I managed to kill it pretty quick. I can now put Latria behind me and move on. The Shrine of Storms, more like the Shrine for Babies, because you'd have to be a real baby for this area to be difficult for you. Nailed it. Adjudicator, bam, killed him in 1 hit. The game is too easy. Old hero, bam, died in 1 hit. Now the game is too hard. No, but really, the old hero took much longer than I had anticipated. There's no gimmick to it. I just gotta lock in and learn his attacks. In terms of walking back to the boss, I think this has to be the most upsetting of all of them. This Grim Reaper and his laser lizard just absolutely melt me every time. At one point, someone even invaded me. The gall. Is that what I've been doing to people? That's awful. With some patience, I eventually add the old hero to my list of geriatric victims. Unless I can convince the Storm King to come down and throw hands, I'm moving on to the Valley of Defilement. But before we get to Poop Town, let's level up my offhand a few times. Mephistopheles forks over 2 colorless demon souls if you kill some of the local denizens. I'm already pretty much doing an evil playthrough, so might as well dive on in head first. Killing Urbane and the others was fine. I mean, it's not like I'll need them for anything once this is over. But Bior, that one just felt wrong. He reminds me of someone. I just can't quite put my finger on it. Now that my offhand is +2, you may be wondering why I wasted so much time on this. Let's just say I have an incredibly devious plan for the final boss that's going to be super OP and definitely not a complete disappointment. The trauma from my very first time in this area has left a deep ridge inside of my brain. This allowed me to get through the level with only a moderate amount of stress and rage. Once again, my pitiful damage becomes an issue. You probably don't know this since most people destroy him in seconds, but this guy can heal himself for a moderate amount. A few times, he was even out healing the damage I was doing. I had to pull out the good grass, but eventually, he went down. Before moving to the giant swamp of death and disease, I made a pit stop back in Upper Latria to grab the Sodden Ring. This thing makes the entire level so much easier, it's not even funny. The poison sucks, but now that I can sprint, I can run straight to the end of the level without worrying about any of the poop guys along the way. Ah, the dirty Colossus. Yet another boss that for some reason I just cannot comprehend his moveset. Maybe it's the absolutely wacky tracking his projectiles have, but I struggled here. By the time you went down, I literally had only 1 piece of grass left. All that's left now is one of the easiest bosses in the entire game. This man has so much poise, it is unreal. I tried chaining heavy attacks, but he has so much health, it's really just not realistic. And when he isn't roll catching me, he's insta-killing me with a big fat input reading parry. Let's see how he likes it. Yes! Yes! She's so dead, bro. I'm sorry. Sorry about this, but I really need to wrap up this run before I go insane. I'd already killed the Tower Knight much earlier in the run so I could farm grass, so Fisto makes his way through 1-3 instead. Let's talk about the assassins, okay? Why do they have so much poise? Why do they not stagger when I smash my giant metal fist into them? Why does their roundhouse kick take out most of my health? The lever is pulled, shortcut opened, and Jesus Christ. Yeah, if you think I'm fighting my way through all this shit, you are so wrong. I must admit, I was dreading my encounter with the Penetrator, and yes, he did absolutely one-shot me, but at this point, I've been through so much that my senses have been honed. It's like I can see the attacks before they happen, or more realistically, it's like he only has 4 attacks. With the Penetrator dead, I finally arrive at the final boss of Demon Souls, Old King Allant. Time to implement my super OP strategy. Yeah, never mind. The plan was to use my offhand and abuse his lack of poise by just spamming offhand attacks. But the damage is so abysmal. Even with the +5 weapon, it's still just pathetic. Not to mention that half of my attacks are straight up missing him. I tried for hours to learn his moveset, but some of these attacks come out so fast, there's just no way I could beat this normally. But I didn't make it all the way here to stop at the finish line. I happened to notice that while he's charging his big AoE, you can punch him to stop the attack entirely. If I can bait that attack over and over, maybe I stand a chance. If there's one thing this run has taught me, it's patience. And in my final encounter with yet another old man, it was patience that won the day. Turns out I can't actually trigger the endgame sequence without killing the Storm King. My only real option was to just use items since the rules of the run prohibit me from using any other weapons. Yeah, turns out the poison kunai are kinda super effective. With only 2 rounds of poison, the fight was over and I meet the old one. Whatever he ate last night has not fully digested. Let me help you with that. You already know we're doing the evil ending. Sorry, girly pop, it's nothing personal. And that's pretty much it. That's one game down, but many more to go. If you enjoyed your time here and you want to see the challenge runs for the rest of the games in the series, be sure to subscribe. I understand I was very critical of Demon Souls, but again, the stress of the run sort of exposed a lot of the glaring issues that the game does have. I do love Demon Souls, but it really doesn't have that nostalgia factor for me that the rest of the games do. If you have a suggestion for any of the runs, I'd be happy to hear them. Be sure to comment below. I have a few ideas for what I'd like to do, and to be honest, I'm leaning more towards runs that are more fun than difficult, at least for this next video. Huge shout out to the members though. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Members get perks like a member's badge and the occasional members only video. So if you're interested in becoming a member, check the description for more details. I'll see you all in the next one. Later.